Hello and a warm welcome from me, Laura Barker. Welcome to my page, my website, and learning a little bit more about me. I wanted to keep this really informal, as if I was meeting you for the first time, or we were meeting for the second or third or fourth or fifth time, so that you can get a feel for me and what I'm about, what I'm like, how I speak. I'm a very unique individual, as we all are. And I thought it would be really good for you to grab a cup of tea. I've got a little bit of a coffee here. And I thought I could just talk to you about me and my journey very informally. This is how I work. This is who I am. And I just think it's really important to be able to share that in a world and a sea full of people who are, want to help you and help you move forward. Sometimes we miss the energetic connection. And I think it's probably the most important thing. So welcome to my space and my energy. I am a mum. I've got two children. I've got a girl called Lila. She is my firstborn, and she is just coming up 10. And I've got a son who is called Jax, and he is 7. And they keep me busy. And I also have a wonderful, wonderful husband called Dave. And we live in the south of England in a very leafy green area of West Sussex. It's just below Gatwick. And we're very grateful, have a lovely home, lovely warm home. And this is where I work from. So when I'm working with clients, I work in this room. This is my treatment room. And I hold all my online sessions here as well. Sometimes I'm in my living room because this isn't a conservatory. This room is a conservatory, and it gets really cold in the winter and baking hot in the summer. In fact, I can't even have my laptop on because it just overheats. So sometimes I'm indoors, but most of the time I'm here. And I absolutely love that work that I do. And I thought this was a really good opportunity, whilst you're getting to know me, to tell you the truth of my story and how I got into this work, because it's not as you would think. In fact, I think it's quite a unique way. And I wanted to explain that to you. So where did I get into this work? Let's talk about that, actually. So the truth about this work, the truth about me, which I have probably been avoiding for a little while, if I'm really honest with you. And that's only because I couldn't really understand it. And the reason I couldn't understand it is because I hadn't worked through some of the things and been shown at a root cause level what I'm working through in this lifetime. And it leads me on to where I'm at with my practice and my work, and where my dedication is at the moment. I'm sure that will probably change in time, but at the moment, where my focus is. So the backstory is my dad. When growing up as a young child, my dad was a platform medium, a psychic, clairvoyant, and he would channel messages from spirit to people here to be able to heal and facilitate some closure for people when they've lost loved ones, but also to provide some evidence of life after death. All right. So he does that, and he still does. And I, by default, grew up around that. So I absorbed, probably subconsciously a lot of the time, a lot of that information, a lot of his teachings, a lot of the experiences and stories that he told me would fascinate me. I never had a gift. I never had the sight of spirit. I wasn't clairvoyant at a young age. I never saw spirit. I was a very normal, apart from the color of my hair as a child, that wasn't normal to me anyway, as a very normal child. And I embraced everything that my dad went through, and always had a fascination for it. I love when people tell stories, when they've been through an experience and they're able to talk about it. I love listening to people's stories. So, and even now when I go and see my dad, I'm like, tell me about da, or what's happened recently. Let me know. I love just talking to people about things like that. So That was the early stages. And I remember my dad saying to me once upon a time, you'll be doing this work one day. I don't know what capacity, but you'll be doing it. And from that moment, I really appreciate him saying that, because from that moment, I never had a concern. I knew that I would be able to tune in to this world that I found so fascinating when the time was right. And that came. And it arrived in the packaging of COVID. It arrived in the catastrophe of the globe that happened in 2020, and just slightly before then. Things had started shifting for me without me knowing just before then. So just leading up to 2020, I was working in a department store in the UK for a beautiful luxury cosmetic brand, Christian Dior. As a beauty consultant, I had my own business as a wedding makeup artist, and I'd been doing that for 7-8 years at that point. Loved it. Had so much training and knowledge, and the world of luxury through working for Dior. It was wonderful. I had a lovely team. And I had started to feel the calling to an online company. During this time, I was working part-time for Dior in a department store, selling makeup, fragrance, skincare, loving it. And I had my wedding makeup business, and this was all part-time. So I was looking after my children and being at home the other times, during the week. And a friend of mine at the time had started an online business, which was in the product industry, within cosmetics, well-being, a little bit of healthcare, and in terms of nutrition and things like that. And she said to me, this would be really good for you. It's all vegan, cruelty-free, be good for your kit. And I was like, yeah, that sounds good to me. It'd be nice to have an offer to be able to offer to some of my clients that wasn't Dior, that was specifically for a different type of person. So I followed her and I joined this company. And this company I stayed with for a couple of years. It was wonderful. And it was a network marketing company, amazing products, and really gave me the opportunity to present myself online. So I was selling things, but I was talking about them passionately. It was combining my love of makeup and helping people feel good at that point with selling and making a bit of money. Now, I was successful, wasn't horrendously successful, and this is the reason why. So I was so passionate about this and helping others with their skincare and their makeup and feeling good and giving tutorials and online demonstrations and using all these wonderful products myself. And I wanted to really make something of this business. I could see the potential that other people and the success that other people were having. And I thought, I can do that. And I at this point, there's no spirit around me that I know of. I start doing a little bit more meditating. I'd done a very tiny bit of meditating in my life, very small. And I thought, I'm going to do some of that. Because, and this is the reason. Now, just before I tell you, I was never able to tell people how I got into this work. As this work moved for me, it just happened. And I was never able to fully describe it to people because I didn't have the history of spirit or the history of helping people. The only thing that I had in my past that I could attach to this journey was that I was a really good confidant. People would gravitate towards me when they had a hard time. And I just thought that's because I was a good listener. And I always somehow used to comfort them with the words that I had at that time. And I never attached it to anything at that point, but that's the only thing that I had. So when people said to me, what's your story? How did you get into this world? I couldn't explain it. It just happened. And I just didn't think that was enough. I didn't think my story was good enough or that people would be interested in that. So I started to going back to where I was. I started to meditate a little bit more. Now, this is where it gets interesting. The reason that I started to meditate more and work on visualization is because within the network marketing company that I was with, as a lot of these companies are, they were very, very passionate about self-development, the positive mindset, the law of attraction, and things just being, you making a decision and things just working out for you. And I was like, I can get on board with that. I'd previously done a very little bit of manifestation earlier on in my life. I had a really good success rate with that. So I thought, I've done a bit of that, but I know that works. I can sink into that again. And I started to meditate more and do more visualization work because I just wanted a successful business. I wanted to be making the money that other people were. I wanted to be able to give that to my family. I wanted to be able to feel like I was helping others and getting rewarded for it. And I was like, right, I can do more meditation, I can do more visualization, and I get to feel better and get paid for it when I do. Happy days. So COVID happened, and this is in 2020 now, early 2020. And I had been working obviously with Dior, and we were obviously off work at this point. We couldn't go to work. All the shops were closed. And the children were at home, and I thought, do you know what? This is such a good time for me to really dig into the meditation, because it's going to keep my mental health in check whilst we're locked down, whilst we're in this predicament. I'm going to be a better parent because I'm going to be a lot more calm with the children. And I thought, this is going to benefit me, but also it's going to help supercharge my business, right? So at this point, I'm like, I've got two really good reasons for me to be able to do that. So I started meditating more. I made it a bit more of a priority in my life, as well as the visualization. I thought the compound effect of this would really help, and I made it a real priority. I set the intention that this was going to be what I focused on during lockdown to help me and my business. And I started. And at this point, I started to have some quite profound, realistic meditations. I thought, cool, I'm getting really good at this. Where are all the clients? And it became quite noticeable for me that I was so desperate for my business, for my online business to work, that I almost overlooked the fact and the original intention of myself at that point. And I was basing everything on receiving the people that would help me for my business, which wasn't quite right for me at that point. And I was finding that the meditations and the visualizations that I were doing, I was receiving guidance, I was receiving a higher perspective, and I couldn't understand how or why I was hearing other things, but they didn't really make sense to me. I couldn't quite work out what that meant for my business. It was all very jumbled, but I carried on nonetheless. And then whilst doing more work, as I said, my mind was in this network marketing phase, I started to meet other people through the online space. And I met two ladies that were running a business helping people in the online space, two coaches, and I followed them for quite a while. And during one of their lives and their teachings, they mentioned something that they were doing. And it was all towards visualization, meditation, positive mindset, all those wonderful things to help you with your business. But in a much more relaxed, aligned way for yourself. So I loved all that because it all started to fit together. I thought, oh, this is great. Anyway, they mentioned during one of their lives that there was something they were going to be certifying in called Feed to Healing. And as soon as she said it, I was like, I need to look into that. And I couldn't explain to you why. I had no inclination, apart from the decent meditations that I've been having, I had no inclination to be a healer, to be a teacher, to really put myself into this industry. But I followed that. I had to go and have a look. And I had a look and I saw a company that was teaching it in the UK. They were doing it online during lockdown rather than in London. And the classes were, the first class was £500. and they were trying to get me to do 3 to have a foundation, right? And I was like, £100. Oh my gosh, back then. But I knew that it was something that I had to do, and I couldn't explain to people why. So I did it. I found the money, I invested into this class, and I did this class, and it changed everything. And from that moment, I then went on to do many, many things within this industry. And I understood at that point that I had a real flair for this, for healing, for helping people with transformational work. It helped me to gain perspective on the perspective that I was being given during meditation without knowing where that came from. I suddenly realized that I'd been part of this process for longer than I'd realized. And it all started to come together. Now, I carried on. I certified in many, many other modalities. I didn't have anyone to really ground it in for me, to help me embody what I was learning and practice it, and to help me intertwine it into my day-to-day life. There was lots of courses on different things, but there was no guidance or no help or no mentorship. At that point, I hadn't met anyone. I didn't know where to go that wasn't charging thousands and thousands of pounds. So at this point, with the facilities and the available funds that I had, I started looking at all different courses, and I started certifying in ones that I had the money for, that would help me develop my knowledge, my remembering over this world of healing and transformational therapy. So I did it. I did lots of courses. I became certified in lots of things, but they all started and finished. And there was still no process to help me cultivate everything that I've learned back to me in the most aligned way possible. It was almost impossible for me to feel into what felt right for me, what I'd experienced, what I was good at, what was showing me results, because there was always so much available. There was always another course that I thought, oh, that will be the thing. That will be the thing that helps me and shows me what I'm supposed to be doing. That will be the next one. So I'd sign up for that course and I'd get left at the same position. I still don't know if this is the thing that I'm supposed to be doing. I'm coasting. I'm just coasting. There was nothing that was enough. And it wasn't until very recently that I had been investing in my own coach to help me. And I realized that actually what I'd been doing was outsourcing everything that I'd learned. Everything I already had was already here. And it'll be the same for you. If you want to do this work, or you want to be in this industry, if you want to be part of my teaching program, everything you have is already here. It just needs to be awakened and remembered. And there'll be a certain toolkit that you have within inside you that is designed to maximize your potential. And you may already know what that is, but a lot of the time we don't. We're always comparing, outsourcing, giving our power away to other things because we think it's not enough. And this is one of my biggest learnings until literally a couple of months ago. So very early 2023. Where I realized that the theme that runs through my life that I'm always striving to heal is the topic and the virtue of enoughness and being enough. And it wasn't until I practiced and did my own work and started to look into how to turn inwards with the tools that I'd learned, the ones that felt good, that were making me happy when I did them, to use those to turn inwards and to apply that to the way that I live my life and how that feels good to me. No one taught me that, apart from a very select few of people that I'm friends with, and we talk together all the time, and we work through things together. So I had decided to work on this enoughness, and it led me to this period where I realized that even the story that I was telling people, when people said, how did you get into this work? How did you become an instructor? How did you become an intuitive healer? I just happened, because to me, it did just happen. It just happened. It just rolled into one. At one point, I was working in Dior. Then there was lockdown. I did some meditations. I did a course, and it all just happened. It was all there. But really, what I was doing was I was dissolving my story over, I didn't feel like my business was enough, that I was enough, that what I was providing was enough, that I had enough money, that I had enough capabilities to be the salesperson, to be the person that I wanted to be. I was creating separation with my life as it was then, and the person and the life that I wanted to have, when in reality we're already that person. It's just a period of circumstances that need to happen in between. So I did a lot of work on the theme of enoughness, and it showed me internal work of my own healing myself, using theta healing, because that's what theta healing is so magical for. It's personal, rapid, personal self-growth and self-development. It's the most profound work that can shift things so faster than anything else that I've used, and provide people with the most wonderful experience, but also change and completely change their life to what they're desiring it to be, because we're working through resistance. So I was working through that resistance using theta healing, but also I was embodying it. I was using that practice, not just doing the meditation or healing, but using the practice and the experience in my day-to-day life. And this was the key. This was the thing that I was thinking, if I had had this, if I had had this development and this way of using this in my life, I wouldn't have needed to go through and do all the other courses and look outside of myself. I wouldn't have needed to do other things or spend thousands of pounds on other people to coach and help me understand that actually everything I already have is here. It's just about uncovering it, using what you have and what you love to do. We all have that capability and that ability to do that. So it brings me back to now, which is, how did you get involved in this work? And the answer is COVID happened, divine timing happened, and I meditated, and it all shifted very, very fast. Within the space of a year, I was healing people. And I didn't have the story of people that had seen spirit from a young age, or people that had very healing families or very holistic based families. I didn't, apart from my dad, I didn't have that. It was a very unique setting. It just happened. And there are going to be people that go through this experience where they've had this happen, they've had this awakening, they've had some crazy meditations, and they feel there's more to this, but they don't know where to go. They don't know what to do. And it's my pleasure and honor to help guide people with that. So, and that is all part of how I life coach. It's all part, if you want to learn how to do theta healing, I teach that. My work that I offer at the moment is very centered around understanding what your soul came here to do, and understanding the lessons, the virtues. For me, one of the main ones is enoughness and being present, and empowering others to do the same and turn inwards. That when you understand those, or when you can use a modality or a technique that helps you understand that, everything else makes sense. Your perspective on everything else widens. You understand how things are laced together. You understand why people have been in your life. You have a greater perspective over so much more than you could ever think possible. It makes being in balance so much easier, and bringing inner peace into your life, bringing better, more sustainable, more harmonious and more self-empowering relationships into your life. It fuels the ones that you already have. It's just the most wonderful journey to be on when you have someone to hold your hand and walk you through this in real time, looking into your eyes and showing you the way, but from your perspective, putting everything into your energy field and being like, how does that feel? What does that look like for you? And making your journey the one that you needed to see, the one that you needed help with, rather than looking outside of ourselves and thinking, well, their way is better, I'm going to do this course next and that course next because they're going to help me do that. This course is very much centered, the becoming experience as well as theta healing, about you. It's providing you with the tools, and then someone showing you how to layer that onto you, your soul's journey, your life experience, in the most wonderful way, with the most wonderful experiences. and not just the meditations and the healings. There's so much more to it. So that's what I'm working on at the moment. It's an experience that's 6 months long, and we go through a whole transformational journey. Which is why it's called the Becoming. And it's also part of my journey and part of my my gift to be able to lace on and layer on top of this journey some fun, some joy, because, and I've experienced this myself, the spiritual industry can be incredibly toxic. There can be a lot of people that are using their gifts to make them feel more empowered than others, to make them feel better and more worthy because they have something that other people don't have. And that's not what spirituality is about. It's about turning inwards and understanding your intuition and your place and what your soul needs to learn to help it gain experiences and learn higher frequencies of virtue so that it can go on and you can live a more fulfilled life, and your next life will be the same and even better and even better. So yeah, so it was important to me to be able to introduce joy and fun. I quite often get my words back to front. I'm a very light person. I hope that comes across in this kind of informal chat. I'm a very light-hearted person, and it's of paramount importance to me that people feel good, and that is what my work is all about. So whether it's a one-to-one session, whether you're experiencing a masterclass with me with a healing, or you're doing a 21-day challenge, or you're embarking on learning theta healing and becoming a practitioner, or for your own self-growth, or you want to be part of a 6-month-long experience which changes everything for you and turns you in on yourself in the most empowering way, whatever that may be, my role is to talk about that, to make you, to align you back to enoughness, to hold you through that learning portal that you are enough just as you are, because we all are. And that goes back to my story. You know, there are people that have been thrown into this world with no guidance or not feeling aligned to somebody who feels very grounded and part of this experience themselves. And that's what I'm here to do. So I hope you found this interesting or informative, or it's answered some questions for you. I'm always open for more chats and discussion. If you've got something that's on your mind that you'd like to work through, reach out. Social media, I'm usually on Facebook and Instagram most of the daytime, or if you've got my personal number, I'm on WhatsApp as well. So I converse with my clients in WhatsApp and Voxer, and also through the social media platforms. So yeah, I'm sending you all the love. Thank you for sitting down with me in your cup of tea, coffee, whatever it is. Mine's a little bit cold now. It's cold. Mine's cold now. I've been gassing to you. I wish you a wonderful day wherever you are in the world, whatever time it is, whatever season. I wish you a beautiful day. If you can get outside, take a breath of fresh air in. Feel it go through your body and just be present in that moment. And hopefully, if I don't speak to you soon to work together, if you're just using some of my work to help you through whatever it needs to help you through with, I hope that it does. And I wish you a blessed journey. And if we are to meet and we are to work together, I really look forward to it. And we'll speak soon. Lots of love. Bye.